Hello everyone, it's Puppet Strings with Fire Daddy, and this is a long-awaited video indeed. Just by the title, you can probably tell that it's been a long time, you guys. And today, as the title implies, we're going to be looking at 10 facts about Jane the Killer. Now, this video is really difficult to make. Like I said, I mean, this is literally like a year in the making here, and finally, we're getting down to it. So, I'll explain why it was so difficult to find some concrete evidence about this later in the video, but for now, let's get into it. Number 1. Jane goes by many names: Everlasting, Arkansas, Richardson, and as far as concrete evidence, the only thing I was able to find was Richardson. And that in itself was impossible to find as far as actual research and not just scanning the internet. Jane was described as a typical, just plain old Jane old girl, literally. Long brown hair, green eyes, and the typical teenager as well. So as her records are too old to show any recent activity until her medical records, which I'll get into later, there's really not much to show as far as incidents. Number 2. So here we are. We have a typical teenager. If anyone is aware of her internet story, then knowing her usual look of pale skin and curly black hair, and of course the good old knife, these attributes were actually gifts from her predator, Jeffrey Dan Woods, which, all depictions, Jeff the Killer. We've come to know that it's really just a front. She is severely disfigured due to an incident with Jeff. There's also been a little bit of, theories thrown out about some kind of hatred serum as well. That's also a part of this universe, if you will. But she's a total catfish, guys. She honestly is. I knew something fishy was going on with. Number 3. A little unconfirmed fact about Jane is, it's really interesting. Unfortunately, it isn't confirmed, so to really find out would be pretty impossible. She has achromatopsia, meaning she's completely colorblind. This is interesting because if she was ever in a conflict with a victim, that could be a possible weak point for her. It would be very, very easy for someone to camouflage themselves entirely in order to either escape or, in some events, win the conflict against her. I mean, but really, when are you gonna find the time to do that? Okay, you're getting molested by a knife and you're gonna be like, oh, hang on, let me throw my camo on. I've never been in that situation. Have I? Number 4. In the original story, Jane is actually Jeff's neighbor. Now, according to the internet, there are many sources that confirm this, but if you actually run a TLO on Jane, this is oddly true. That's weird. Upon looking for that information, Jeffrey Dan Wood's original address is across the street in a suburb from a house that is connected to an actual Jane Richardson. Whether or not that is our Jane Richardson is left up to debate. It may be coincidental, but it is still a little odd. Number 5. Jane saw everything. And I mean everything. The birthday party, Randy and his gang getting their ass handed to them at the bus stop, everything. Now, this is quite coincidental, in my opinion, as this is going off of the original story. However, you can't deny that this is a little strange. Like I said, according to some sources, it's a little strange that there is a possibility that this might be true, but even still, it's very coincidental considering. Number 6. Here's an off-the-wall fact for you puppets that I've actually covered in a previous video. According to most internet sources, Jane has reflected bisexual tendencies, though I personally cannot find any hard evidence on this. If anything, I found more evidence supporting the fact I put in my video regarding that she's actually a lesbian. So do with this information what you will. I just thought it was a really interesting fact. I was like, maybe reminisce on some of my previous content. Number 7. The incorrect or possibly correct fan art. Now let's admit, before I go on, let's admit, any fandom, I don't care what you're talking about, don't care which fandom, there will be fan art. End of story. And those creations practically carry the culture single-handedly. As far as creepypasta is concerned, it is definitely no exception to this rule. I can tell you that. So going back to the point, The fan art is among one of the most accurate according to sources. And I found this really surprising considering, and when I say accurate, I mean accurate. Fan art can sometimes be silly, absolutely amazing, and a little risque? Is that the word I'm looking for? Is that the word I really want to use in this situation? I don't know. Either way, typically the art doesn't truly reflect accurately, but Jane might be an exception to this. She's always depicted exactly how she likes to represent. And we don't get to see that all too often. It's honestly a huge treat because guys, what is some of this? Like, yes, you're talented, but like, chill. You guys need to chill. Number 8. This is entirely a theory. Before I go into this, I was not able to find an actual 911 recording that has been released to the public, that is. Which according to sources would have likely been found somewhere around Orange County, California. Yet again, I did not find anything that supported this other than internet sources, stories, the wiki, stuff like that. So make of this theory what you will. Jane supposedly called the authorities during the party in which Jeffrey Dan Woods had his unfortunate accident. Here is a small excerpt from a story about Jane. I couldn't wait anymore, so I ran to my parents' bedroom and searched for my dad's cell phone, hoping that he forgot it at home. My heart was pounding in my chest, knowing that the longer it took for me to get help, the higher chance of someone getting killed was. I finally found the phone underneath the bed. I wasted no time punching in the numbers. From there, she spoke to the operator due to the suspicious activity of Randy and Troy as she witnessed them assaulting Jeff at the time. Now, like I said, this is entirely a theory and this might just be just that. It might just be a story because I was not able to find any kind of evidence of that, any kind of 911 recordings that would have been public access, that is. There may be, and I just don't have access to it because etc., etc. But what do you puppets think? Tell me in the comments below. Do you think it's a story? Do you think it does have a possibility of having some truth to it? Number 9. Jane is actually not a danger. Now listen, I'm not a fan of Janie here, okay? But there has been a lot of speculation that Jane is not at all a danger to the human race, surprising, whatsoever, since her motive is to kill Jeffrey Dan Woods, and that's it. That's it. The point is, according to some sources that claim that she is entirely a safe creature, and that given the choice, running into Jane would be entirely more safe than running into any other pasta. Like I mentioned, you know what's more dangerous? Fangirls, 100%. Y'all are terrified, okay? I have a few fanboys and fangirls and fan-thems too. They scare the shit out of me. I love you guys though, but you scare the shit out of me. Number 10. We made it to number 10, you guys. And here's the most requested question that I get about 1,000,000 times a day generally. Okay? Here we go. Is Jane real? That's a huge question. I'm a huge advocate for you believe in what you want to believe in as long as you're not hurting anyone. But I have not found anything suggesting she has or does exist. In the same token, as I stated in the beginning of the video, why it was so difficult to find her information is because she may or may not exist. But wait, before you click away from the video in frustration and go, Pup Strange, you're full of shit, just hear me out. There is only one thing that I found that it probably may not be a tailing to her existence. It may be one single medical record from Irvine Hospital that matches the situation perfectly, same name, same birth date, and everything. But as fate would have it, there is this beautiful thing called HIPAA. I 110% understand this because privacy and security is number one, especially if Jane does exist and she is medically deemed as deceased, then that information would be severely sensitive and it wouldn't be released. So in the meantime, we're just gonna have to leave it to our imagination for now, guys. And that's fine, because in the end, no matter what, doesn't matter if creepypastas are real, fangirl's real. Thank you guys for watching this video. I enjoyed making it. I started researching this video specifically back in like late 2018, and I found most of my notes for this video was on my old computer, and I ended up ripping them and getting them through my new Google Drive. So I was able to take all these facts, all these things that I found from years ago, and was able to compile them into one video, and I was so happy I could do that for you guys. I had a blast doing it. Let me know what you thought of it, and if you have any theories or facts to share, if you know something that I didn't come across of, or something to disprove, you know, etc., etc. I want to hear about it, and I want to hear from you, and if you have absolutely anything to add. But in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!